What's up, everybody? I wanted to give a quick update. It's been about a day since my last video, so now most of you, for those of you that have watched the video, now know that I'm going after the data center track. So yay! So want to give you guys more like a hey, this is kind of a little bit of a different perspective, kind of the vlogger style. Don't consider myself a vlogger, no. Although my wife, she wants to be one, so I've been trying to help her get a YouTube channel started. More on that later. So I did some review. I don't know how you guys go about getting started with a YouTube channel. Studying for a new certification or just learning a new technology in general. I'm not sure exactly how you guys go about doing it, but one thing that I like to go do is I like to go out and actually understand the entire high-level overview of the technologies that are on the certification that I'm attempting to go after. So in this particular case, I am going after CCNP data center, and I feel pretty good so far. I mean, I've done a lot with Nexus switches in terms of the platform. So when I say a lot, we're talking like the Catalyst side of the house that's similar to Nexus, or Nexus is similar to Catalyst. I'm not sure exactly how I want to say that, but the layer 2 and layer 3 networking that you normally would see on a switch, we're good there. Like span tree protocol, port channels, all of the major Catalyst configurations you would run on like a 3750 or a 6500. That stuff doesn't faze me really. It's like, okay, I already know all that. It's the more advanced things like, and then getting some of the routing stuff to work is a little bit different and stuff like that, but for the most part, it's not too bad. So I went ahead and I started reviewing some of the more data center specific topics like VPC, virtual port channels, and taking a look at fabric extenders and OTV and VXLAN and VDCs and stuff like that. There's a lot there to unpack really, but it's one of those things as you're going through you realize, oh, okay, well, you just start kind of organizing them together. And one of the things that I did is I went to INE's website. So for those of you that watched the last video, you all know that I'm using INE for their data center track. So they have a CCNP data center course for Nexus and for UCS. They have an older CCIE data center for the version 1 of the exam that Brian McGann did a long time ago. I've watched that probably quite a few times on the Nexus side because I've had to work with Nexus switches in production on customer networks from the 5K and the 7K and the 2K. We've never really worked with the 1000V, so the 1kV. So I'm not sure exactly what you call that other than the 1kV. So I did that. So those are the topics that platforms that I'm already relatively familiar with. Let me go ahead and try to make sure I'm not doxing myself here. Let me put this down. This phone is actually relatively heavy compared to what I was expecting. So what I'm doing now is I've gone through the majority of those technologies. Also Fabric Path as well. So I do appreciate the comments. So I know there was one commenter, I won't call him out by name because you guys will see the comments, that mentioned going out and buying hardware. And I looked it up, I did. I looked up some 5548s and a couple of 2232s and stuff like that. It's not terribly expensive. It probably for, I think the same amount of hardware that he bought was 2 5Ks and 3 FEXs would be probably $1,000. And right now that's just not in the cards for me. Not that I can't afford it. I mean, the money is there in savings, but I understand the concept. And right now that's really all I'm trying to do is for the technologies that I can't lab up like right away, I want to understand the concepts. And I work with FEXs quite a bit. So I'm already familiar with like the VN-tag capability and all that type of stuff. So that's not too terribly involved. The other technologies that I'm not as familiar with, like dealing with VXLAN and how it's used inside of the data center. I mean, I understand the concept of VXLAN and underlays and overlays. That don't get me wrong, I understand the concept, but I need to understand how VXLAN works with BGP and EVPN and that type of stuff, and how it all works on the 9Ks and that type of stuff. That's really my main goal right now, is to understand all of that, because when you talk about it from an MPLS layer 2 VPN perspective, it seems to be more complicated on the 9Ks than it is if you were to take a couple of ASR 1000s or a couple of CSR 1000Vs and some iOS XR boxes, and then you just configure an interface to be an attachment circuit. So you configure a virtual, what is that thing called? I can actually forget off the top of my head. It's been a few minutes. Anyway, you guys will tell me in the comments. But you configure the interface that faces the customer as an attachment circuit, and then you go through and you go to the layer 2 VPN config, and then you bind now I'm completely drawing a blank. Then you bind the attachment circuit configuration to the layer 2 VPN process globally, and then boom, your layer 2 VPN is working. So it makes it super simple. And if you need to turn on BGP, you just activate the address family. It's boom, it's just there, right? Here it's a little bit more involved with the VNIs, and I'm trying to understand how all that type of stuff works. So I'm having I haven't bridged the gap from how layer 2 VPN and layer 3 VPN is different than layer 2 VPN, because you're bringing in a VRF. So it's the multi-tenancy that I'm having a struggle with right now. But again, it's, I will eventually get there. I just need to sit down and go through the content and understand it better. But that's pretty much where I'm at right now. So I do have the ACI simulator deployed. I got that deployed this morning. So, and I've already got it powered on. I've got the APIC has discovered the leaf discovered the spine discovered the other leaf. So now I have my little deployment going. I've also got the UCSPE deployed, and I've already been playing around with that. I've got, I think, 4.0 for the UCSPE deployed, and everything's been going pretty well. The material's been good. I mean, I can only say kudos to Brian for the data center, the level of detail that he goes into for his explanations and stuff like that, because it's really, really good, and stuff like that. But that's really where I'm at. I mean, I'm not gonna do daily updates, but I'm probably gonna. I like this little variation here where it's like more personalized and stuff like that, to give you guys updates as to where I'm at, because I think it helps me like talk things out, and I can get feedback from you guys and stuff like that. So it's cool that way. But that's pretty much where I'm at in terms of the study process, what I've covered so far. I mean, I've only been looking at it for basically the weekend, and it's Monday. So what are my plans? How am I trying to approach this? And my approach to this is actually going to be pretty. Let me go ahead and switch hands real quick, because this hand is getting this phone's a little heavier than I anticipated. So let's talk about that for a minute, and what it is that I'm going to be doing in terms of setup and moving forward with actually just go back. Anyway, one of these days I'll get myself squared away. So one of the things that I'm planning on doing in terms of my process is I'm going to focus on the network pieces first. So that'll be Nexus, getting all the layer 2 pieces done, layer 3 pieces done, then doing the OTV, any of the data center specific configurations, fabric path, that type of stuff. Anything I can demo, like I know fabric path will work on the 7Ks. There's like do VPC and play around with a couple different variations of that and those details. And then my goal is to, once I get out past OTV, trying to think if there's anything else that I would want to demo. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything. But once you move past that point, you're then diving into VXLAN. So INE's actually got 2 different VXLAN courses. There's one that's more heavily focused on bringing up the net connectivity between the 9Ks for the spines and the leafs, setting that type of stuff up, and then going out and doing another one, that focuses on like EVPN. So I'm definitely going to be going through both of those courses, because getting the underlay up and running, getting the overlay up and running, to me that's no big deal. I mean, I understand ISIS, I understand PIM, multicast, all that type of stuff makes sense to me. So I pretty much already have that locked down. It's how do you do EVPN? How do you get that all integrated and things like that? Those are the things that I'm struggling with now. Once I get that done, then my next step is to move into ACI. I'm going to do ACI next, and the reason why I'm going to go that direction with it is because that's going to be building out the next generation of data center fabrics, right? You do all get ACI all laid out and get working. And there's a couple of comments regarding like EVPN multi-site. I will be looking into those things, and thanks for those tips. I wasn't aware of those things even existing. So people ask me to cover stuff like, well, what is that? So I look at it like, oh, that's cool. So I'll be looking into those details as well, just to get a better understanding of how that type of stuff works. It's actually on the blueprint too, by the way. So I'll do that, and then once I have the ACI like dialed in and I can do everything inside of the simulator and make sure I understand the processes, it's more or less trying to understand how it all works, not necessarily what the button clicks are inside of the GUI. That's not as important to me right now. It's more or less how does it all flow together? How do you make it all work? And then once I have that done, then I'll flip back over to UCS and I'll do a deeper dive into UCS, because the way I'm looking at it is network infrastructure connectivity first. Get the network up and running, with Nexus switches, VXLAN, all that type of stuff. Then focus on the compute, which is going to be a UCS and storage. Get that all squared away, and then I can focus on the endpoint connectivity. So I can do more of the how do you deploy VMware on a server. So that's when I'll flip back over to my VMware side of the house, and I'll start focusing on, those details. So that's pretty much what my goal is now. So it's focus on Nexus, get it out of the way, because it's a very large topic scope. Then do ACI, then do UCS. That's pretty much my order right now. I can't think of a whole lot of other stuff that needs to be really dove into off the top of my head. There's a couple of other major technologies, there's FabricPath, there's OTV, there's FEX, there's storage. I will be taking a look at that, but at the end of the day, if you keep it high level and then you start digging into the specifics, it makes it a lot easier to follow your process. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to try to keep the update vlogs going as I go along, because I think it will definitely help with the process, and hopefully encourage you guys and stuff like that. So until next time, guys, if you haven't already done so, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.